Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nayli Nadia, matric number 2329384. And for today, I will be analyzing a case review based on the case of TNB and Syabas. So, before I move on to the summary of the facts, the case citation is Tenaga Nasional Berhad and Syarikat Bekalan Air and Another, 2018, Volume 1 of Malayan Law Journal, page 810, on the 24th of October 2016, and the court was held at the Court of Appeal in Putrajaya. And the judges are David Wong, Umi Kalthum, and Hasna Muhammad Hashim, JJCA.
These streets ain't what they used to be.
What the hell is going on here? What's the big idea?
Hey, I'm doing what I was told to do. Syabas hired me in this area to dig up the water pipes.
Yeah, I ordered you to conduct an excavation, but I didn't ask you to do all of this damage. Because I hired you for a reason. If I had known how to properly dig a hole in a high voltage area, I would have hired you to do this work for me. Because I hired you for a reason.
I don't care. I'm suing you guys regardless under the tort of negligence.
Hey now, this isn't a smart decision.
I'm not even responsible for this. I'm not the main contractor. I'm not responsible for this negligence. He is the main contractor.
You're my property!
In this part, he's trying to blame me.
TNB sued Syabas and the contractor for 1.5 million ringgit for negligently damaging a high voltage underground cable while they were doing excavation work. And as such, the contractor claimed indemnity from their subcontractor and the insurer, and that they won't be held liable for this. So I hereby hold contractor fully liable against TNB's claim, and I allow contractor's indemnity against the insurer in the sum of 850,000 ringgit. However, I dismiss Syabas and contractor's indemnity claim against the subcontractor.
Hold up. This isn't fair. I demand an appeal!
Court of Appeal? What do you mean Court of Appeal? According to TNB's appeal, we have to take certain things into consideration that the High Court judge had failed to do. So I, as the Court of Appeal judge, therefore allow TNB's claim against Syabas as well as the contractor.
So the summary of the case is that the defendant 1, Syabas, hired defendant 2, the contractor, to do some excavation work. However, the contractor accidentally damaged a part of the high voltage underground cable section belonging to the plaintiff, TNB. And then defendant 2, the contractor, claimed indemnity from its insurer, Loanpack, and subcontractor, known as Pembinaan Benua. So here are the issues that are brought up in this case. So the first one is whether contractor's negligence made Syabas liable, since Syabas had a duty to ensure its contractor carried out its job with reasonable care and without causing damage. The second issue is whether Syabas could escape liability by saying contractor was an independent entity that is not under Syabas's control. So the following are the arguments from the parties. The first one, from the plaintiff, TMB argues that Syabas and the main contractor are indeed liable for the damage that occurred in TMB's section of the high voltage underground cables whilst they were doing the excavation works. And then the argument from the defendants, Syabas claims that they are not liable since they are not the one who are actually digging and excavating the area. In fact, they just instructed the contractor to do his work. And then as for the contractor could argue that the lack of adequate supervision from TNB as well as inadequate information about the location of the underground utilities could possibly contribute to the damage he accidentally caused. So the decision from the High Court. The High Court judge found that the main contractor was fully liable for the damage they have caused in the underground high voltage cable area. They have also allowed the contractor's claim against the insurer, Lon Park, in the sum of 850,000 ringgit, though the High Court dismissed the claim against Syabas and the subcontractor, Pembinaan Benua. After TNB decided to an appeal, it ultimately led the Court of Appeal allowing TNB's appeal with costs in the sum of 30,000 ringgit. In the end, TNB will receive approximately 1.5 million ringgit from the defendants. Basically, the plaintiff had received all the damages they sought in the beginning in the prior court session. So, non-delegable duty can still make Syabas liable for the actions of the delegated party, the contractor, though they are not able to escape the liability should any accidents happen, and in this case, it did. And the second ratio decidenda is that even if the delegated party is an independent entity, the one who delegates the duty is still deemed somewhat liable for the damage incurred. So moving on to the analysis, here are the non-delegable duties that are mentioned. So non-delegable duties arises in circumstances where a person cannot be excused from liability even if reasonable care is exercised in entrusting responsibility to another person. And according to Lepore, a non-delegable duty is not a duty of care, rather that it is a duty to see that care is taken. It is not to be mistaken that duty of care is delegated to another. Breach of non-delegable duty is a strict liability tort, not an absolute liability tort. Strict liability arises from a non-natural use of land, where generally substantial damages are awarded to the wronged party. And here are some of the typical instances of non-delegable duties. They are between master and servant, hospital and patient, education authority and student, and lastly, adjoining owners of land, which is the one where this case is referring to. So in the case of Dr. Kok Chung Seng and Dr. Hari Krishnan and another, and Megat Nur Ishaq bin Megat Ibrahim and another appeal, what happened was a doctor delegated the task of performing a surgical procedure to a less senior doctor, and the patient, in the end, suffered injuries as a result and sued the original doctor for negligence. The Court of Appeal held that the original doctor had a non-delegable duty to take care of the patient, and that he could not escape liability for the patient's injuries simply by delegating the task to another doctor. So, in comparison to the case of TNB and Syabas, despite delegating the task to a contractor, Syabas is still deemed liable for the damage done by the contractor. So, in the case And then the second case, Hemorrhage and Corporation, Sendirian Berhad, and Tenaga Nasional Berhad. This is a very similar case to the one that I'm reviewing, but basically what happened was Hemorrhage was contracted by the defendant to carry out excavation works. Hemorrhage subcontracted the excavation works to another company called Syarikat Pembinaan Zam. During the excavation works, a water pipe belonging to another company was damaged, so then the company sued Hemorrhage for the damaged water pipe. The High Court held that Hemorrhage had a non-delegable duty of care to ensure the excavation works were carried out safely, and that they are liable even though Hemorrhage is not the one who physically carried out the task. So, similar to the case law, Syabas is held liable for the damage in the underground cables, even though Syabas is not the one who physically carried out the task. This is because Syabas delegated the task to the contractor, but still holds the duty and the liability.